An accumulative poem on Louis Armstrong. Armstrong. Armstrong Almighty, an ad-libbing acrobat, American ambassador of affirmation, adventurous author of ambrosial airs, absolute architect of the jazz age. Almighty Armstrong attacks a trumpet with abandon. Armstrong's amazing artistry astonishes audiences of all ages. Africa to Asia, Australia to Argentina, and even Armenia. Ambassador Armstrong animates the altitudes with angular aural arabesques aplenty. Awkward adagio arias adjusted with agile allegro accents appease Armstrong's admirers. Anybody asks? Tell them Armstrong Almighty is aglow amidst the angels above. A blues poem on Count Basie. Bouncin' with my baby to Basie's big time band. Bouncin' with my baby to Basie's big time band. Rhythm is their business, but the blues is their brand. Up from Kansas City with a button-down 4/4 swing. Up from Kansas City with a button-down 4/4 swing. Brilliant brass blazin' and that boom boom bass drum thing. Baked beans and barbecue and a big brown bass below. Baked beans and barbecue and a big brown bass below. Best be back behind the beat when Basie's band begins to blow. Prez, both Franks and Papa Joe are standing in the wings. Prez, both Franks and Papa Joe are standing in the wings. Bout to brew the beastly groove that Basie always brings. Sweets and Buck and Snooky Young and a bone man named Al Gray. Sweets and Buck and Snooky Young and a bone man named Al Gray. Burnished bells boast and blare that Basie's come to play. Hey, Count Basie. Basie, what you got to say? Hey, Count Basie, Basie, what you got to say? Bouncing with my baby, about to swing the blues away. A list poem on John Coltrane. Coltrane is a country boy come callin' on the big city. But couldn't he croon a campground tune with ironclad candor? But couldn't he caress a popular melody with cold-blooded compassion? Couldn't he conjure up the ceremonial clamor of churchy Carolina congregations? Coltrane is a country boy quite chilly in the cold coast city. But couldn't he construct a comprehensive course of study to conquer the incompliant techniques of the tenor saxophone? But couldn't he call upon a colossal capacity to concentrate? Couldn't he practice and incessantly practice his craft with uncompromising conviction? Coltrane, country as cornbread, collard greens, fried chicken, cane, and even chitlins, is celebrated in the big city as upcoming champion of scales, clefs, and cutting-edge concepts. But couldn't he capsize calcified conventions and challenge the contrarian campus critics? But couldn't he create controversy among the condescending cognoscenti, the chatty clever, the certified, and the merely competent? Couldn't he just keep on cascading through closely clustered chord changes, cartwheeling through complex, careening chromatic calculations? Coltrane is a comet, a constellation, a cherished citizen of the cosmos. But couldn't he cackle and cry and scream freedom up the chock-full core of a volcanic cadenza? But couldn't he hot comb the creases out of a cheeky classic and completely captivate a packed-to-capacity corner club? Couldn't he coax and cajole common sense out of a corrupted culture and crusade for our culture's long in the coming civil rights? Coltrane was a country boy come to the big city, come lost in the stars. But couldn't he cram a century of conflict and confusion into a compelling catechism to convert charlatans? But couldn't he corkscrew cacophonous currents of clearly channeled consciousness through a cookie-cutter community of two cerebral concert-goers seeking change or a cheap charge? Couldn't he cook up a cauldron of convoluted callaloo to confound the casual fan and curious recruit alike with cosmic cubist counterpoint, incomprehensible cassenging of symbols, ceaseless chaos, crisscross columns of sonic calculus, and a stormy sea of collective concerns come crashing down to chase the crazy crowd away? A wordplay on Miles Davis. Maybe dance music draws major dimes. Merry disco might drive moody dupes manic. Did see. Motto, Dome makes dope's money drunk. Muted drama mixes delta moans, demon mist, Tommy media, drums magic, Dixie mumbo, droll monks, dizzy, me too. Dogma molds dense minds, doles moral decay. Modal daddy mince dreck. Mercy! Didn't Midas dream madly? Ditto, Miles Davis. A meter play on Duke Ellington. Ellington is a most elegant man. Suit, shirt, and shoes, slicked back hair spick and span. Perfect pressed trousers, and a tie tied just right. Even his casual clothes, out of sight. With an eloquent pen, Duke expresses his views, compositions extending the ethos of blues. From concerto for cootie to black, brown, and beige, be it eighth notes or whole notes embossing the page. Duke's cats, C.T., Ray Nance, each one. Big Ben, Brown Rex, who else? Clinton. Northeast, Wild West, Sweet South, the same. Come swing, he called. New York, they came. The orchestra evokes New Orleans nights, exotica of Egypt, Paris sights, esteemed ensemble, everyone elite, exuding pure emotion, bittersweet. Eager to exclaim the joy of jazz, they swing with ease, embarking on a string of one-night gigs nonstop for years at the expense of everything, to educate, to elevate, to urge the earthbound ear and heart alike to soar, to etch the evidence of the eternal Ellington effect upon the ether and the core, and to erect, encrypt, enshrine an aural movement forevermore. A preached poem on Ella Fitzgerald. What of? Of the fortuitous, the fragility of a moment. And did we find ourselves flung face to face with some finely tuned female voice, formless and forever, defying Father Time and all known laws of physics, floaty and fabulous, phrasing with feather-edged finesse some fantastic fable fetched from the pre-primeval forests of fairyhood? Yes, we did. She before us, fine, infinite, and fluorescent, in fact, incandescent. Flesh and blood become ephemeral through the unfathomable beauty of a sound. Fluffy, flavorful, and fluent, and firm and fertile. Furthermore, full, fiery, flammable like the feet of a flamencaro at final flourish. And did that voice take flight, friends? Yes, oh yes, it did. And then the false facade of formality, or an even faker forced informality, begins to falter and finally to fold. Faced with that ferocious, fantastic flying force, our souls flutter off free. And then, the feeling of fainting or falling infinitely through some forbidden or long-forgotten memory before it fades. And did we follow that feeling further and further into a flickering, confounded, fractured fuzziness? Have mercy, yes. Oh, yes, Lord, yes. Have mercy, yes. Oh, yes, Lord, yes. And did we forestall the fleet-footed folly of floating off to far-fetched, far-out corners of our own consciousness, never to be found, trapped by some femme fatale with a transfixing song? Frozen in time? Confess it. Tell her, but do not flatter. No flirty, fleet-footed flim-flammery. No flippant, flimsy, counterfeit shim-shammery. Tell her how fearless she makes you feel. And did we find ourselves back in a flash, beyond the footlights, fiending for the next song? Ah, yes, the great Fitzgerald. A limerick on Gerry Mulligan. There was a grand gentleman Gerry, a great saxophone dignitary, whose glorious tone did the gaffers bemoan while the guys and the gals all made merry. A giant of saxophone baritone, of grinding a groove to the grisly bone. Cross the globe did he gig, a jazz gypsy, you dig? This genius whose gifts were full-blown. He blew with a cool gentle attitude, blew nuggets whose glimmering pulchritude gave the gals goo-goo eyes. Tit for tat got the guys, and a gaggle of gossip ensued by the grace of a Mulligan mood.